Hello, my name is Diamond, aka Lady Leo. Welcome to my YouTube channel, or welcome back if you are a returning viewer. So this one is going to be just a kind of a fun video about what I've been watching lately. The last several months, I'd say maybe since like June or July of last year, there haven't been a ton of movies that I wanted to see in theaters. So I've been really spending a lot more time like binging things through the streaming services that I pay for. So I just kind of wanted to talk about what I have been watching lately. Okay, so let's see. I just watched a movie called Triangle. So I saw a clip of it on Instagram, and I don't think there's a way for me to describe this without like ruining it for you. Let's just say it's like a thriller mystery. And essentially what you have is a girl who gets on a boat, and then like it seems like the day's repeating. That's all I'm gonna tell you. It's an older movie from like 2009, and as soon as I saw the clip, I do what I always do, which is like when I want to watch something, I go to IMDb, because IMDb will tell you like what streaming sites it's on, and I was like, ooh, it's on Peacock. I already pay for that. Cool. I went to Peacock, I watched it, and I ended up really, really liking it. So highly recommend you check it out. Again, I'm not going to give you more of a description than that, because if I do, it will kind of explain the whole plot. It's one of those things you just have to watch because it's very trippy, but it's very, very good. And again, it's called Triangle. It's from 2009. It's like a thriller mystery. And yeah, it's not, just remember it's The Triangles. Check that out. I just finished watching The Substance. I think I watched that last week. So I'd heard about this movie, which I feel like came out, I don't know, last summer or something like that, or maybe it was in limited release first. And yeah, I didn't really see a lot of trailers for it, but I heard some good buzz about it. People said it was good. Thankfully, nobody spoiled it for me. Like I didn't actually know what it was about. And it has Demi Moore and Margaret Qualley. And how would I describe this movie? I guess it's about an older woman who gets access to a substance who allows her to have another version of herself reach her full potential, and all of the debauchery that goes on with that. So it's very much a body horror film. Think like The Fly. If you don't like The Fly, I would not watch this movie. If you've seen The Fly, you know what I mean. So it gets crazy, but it's also very good and it's just a really good commentary on like how society views women, specifically older women, how men view women, how we view ourselves. So I really enjoyed this movie. I thought it was really, really good. So I highly recommend you should definitely check it out. So it's been a few weeks now, but I finally watched The Wild Robot. I remember when this movie came out, and I knew I wanted to see it, but sometimes when it comes to movies that are aimed at children, I don't necessarily know if I want to go see them in theaters, because there's usually a bunch of kids there, because the movies are aimed to them. So it was on my list, and then I was like, you know what, I can wait to see it on streaming. So I ended up watching it a couple weeks ago, and I absolutely loved this movie. I ended up buying it. Like I rented it first, and then I loved it so much I ended up buying it. So I highly recommend The Wild Robot. I love the soundtrack too. Like Maren Morris does 2 songs for it, and then like the score is also really good. So essentially it's about a robot who is crashed into the forest, and the robot is designed to interact with humans, so they have to interact with animals. And it's a really beautiful tale on like parenthood and childhood, and there's a lot of life lessons actually going on. There's some dark humor that goes on in this movie. There's a few times where I was like, oh shit. It's pretty funny, but it's pretty dark for kids. So I'm like, I was appreciative that they were not afraid to go there. So I absolutely adore this movie. I hope it wins some awards. I know it didn't win like the Golden Globe, but we still have the Oscars and whatever other award shows, the SAG or something, the Critics' Choice. I'm sure there's a few of them. So we'll see, but I definitely recommend it. So the voice cast consists of a lot of great people. Lupita Nyong'o, it has Pedro Pascal, Kit Connor, Catherine O'Hara, Bill Nye is in there. So there's a lot of good people in there. It's really good. I had a good time watching it. I highly recommend you check it out. Those are all like the movies that I streamed over the last few months. And then I've been super into TV shows. So I guess I'll just start with what I watched recently. Castlevania Nocturne just dropped their second season, and I loved it. In fact, I'm kind of rewatching it because I don't have a ton of stuff to watch right now. So I rewatched the first season of Nocturne, and I'm just gonna watch the second season. I think I might go back and watch like some of Castlevania. So I'm really proud of Nocturne because I think it's really difficult to pick up with a series that is set so far in the future, like several generations removed from the characters of Nocturne, with the characters of Castlevania, with the exception of Alucard, which I'll get to in a second, and still make a really good, interesting story where you're invested in the characters. That's super hard to do when you pick up with a next generation. In this case, like, I don't know, 6 or 7 generations down the line. So yeah, I ended up really loving Nocturne the first season, and I was really happy that it was greenlit for a second season. Second season is really a part 2. It's a continuation from the first season, so you can kind of watch them all as one thing now. And I friggin' loved this season. I binged it all in one night. It's a very easy watch because it's an animated show and they're like 25-minute episodes. So there's only 8 of them for each season. So it's super easy to like binge the entire season, which I did. The action is great, but I just feel like the characters are really great too. Like I care about everybody. I'm invested in everybody. I don't really know how Netflix decides what does and doesn't get us, another season. I would really love to see Nocturne get another 2 seasons. That would give it as many seasons as the original Castlevania, because they certainly did start to set up some other things. So I would love to kind of see where those go. So here's to hoping we get another season of Nocturne. All right, so Skeleton Crew just finished on Tuesday. So that was Disney's newest Star Wars show. And as somebody who has sort of developed a appreciation and love for Star Wars way more over like the last decade, I appreciate the Star Wars shows. They're not all amazing, but for me, I'm not somebody who's like, I need to see this and this and this. I like to see different types of shows. I know that everybody hates The Acolyte. I'm not saying it's perfect. It definitely had some flaws, but I would have liked to see where the show went if it got a second season. Doesn't matter, it didn't. Is this show going to get a second season? I have no idea. It could be more of like a mini-series designed to be one season, but I quite enjoyed the Skeleton Crew. And I've never seen the Goonies like fully. Like I've seen clips from the Goonies, but I've never actually sat down and like watched the whole thing. I know it's criminal. Maybe I'll watch it this weekend. But anyway, it gives me Goonie vibes for sure. I think the young cast is really good. They also I like them individually, and then they work really well together. And then you have Jude Law, who's the main character. He's the main adult character outside of the kiddos. So I really did enjoy the show. I will be honest though, I think the show went in a little bit of a different direction than I was originally anticipating in terms of the ending. And this is kind of why I would like a second season, because I do think they left a lot of things open-ended. Like, I would kind of like to know what happens to Ad-Atten now that it's exposed to the world, and what happens to Jod. So I don't know. I would love a second season. I don't know if it's going to get a second season, but I found Skeleton Crew to be enjoyable, and I enjoyed watching it, each episode. And it is nice to have a departure from Jedi and the Sith, although you have Jod, which is, I'm not going to spoil that for people, but this is not a show focused on either one of those, which is great because there's other people in the galaxy outside of the Jedi and the Sith, you know what I mean? So yeah, I really enjoyed Skeleton Crew. Oh, I watched Laid. So Laid is a show on Peacock that stars Stephanie Zhu. I always get confused on how to say the names, HSU, but I think the H is silent. So Stephanie Zhu. Hopefully I said her last name right, but I find her to be hilarious. So the show is essentially it's her and her best friend, and all of her exes are dying. They're literally dying in various different ways. So the show is basically trying to figure out why, and her going through talking to her exes, but it's a lot of in-depth on who she is on a person, and why she the type of relationships that she has. So I thought this was hilarious and a really, really good watch. So I'm hoping that Laid gets a second season. And those are like 30-minute episodes, and I think it's like 8 of them. So again, it's a very easy binge. So I recommend you check out Laid. I also finished Black Doves on Netflix, which I just heard was greenlit for a second season. So that's good. So Black Doves is a spy thriller type of show. I feel like there's a lot of those these days, but this one has Keira Knightley in it, and let me see the male, Ben Whipshaw, who plays he plays, I'm not gonna spoil who he is, but the two of them are close. They're not related, but they kind of give me like the brother sister energy, which I like. And I really like this kind of spy narrative, the way that it's presented, where she's a spy and she's embedded in like one family. So she's married and she has kids. So that's really interesting. She's not like galloping across the world. And not only that, the spy agency that she works for, they're like an independent agency. Like, she don't work for the British government or any other government. They work for the highest bidder. And I don't think I've seen that with a spy show. Like, most of the time people work for like whatever, usually their home country's government, but she, she don't. She's like, well, whoever's paying is what we're selling. So I'm happy to hear that Black Doves was greenlit for a second season, because I quite enjoyed Black Doves, and I binged that in a weekend too. So what else am I watching? Let me see. All right, lastly, I would say that I finished DC's Creature Commandos. So that's an animated show by James Gunn. That I think it's like maybe it's like 7 episodes. 7 episodes. Easy show to watch. Really, really enjoyed it. And this should be really interesting, considering the DC reboot, if you will. Because I really like James Gunn, but it's just really interesting to have like one person helm an entire universe. It doesn't add for a lot of variety, maybe not variety, diversity, but I could be wrong. I could be wrong, because I really liked the Creature Commandos. I also really liked James Gunn version of the Suicide Squad. So yeah, and I'm looking forward to Superman. So I just think it's interesting to have one person like be responsible for an entire universe. First of all, that's a lot of work. Second of all, there's something about other directives that give you a different perspective that you may not be able to get from one person. But I'm just reading ahead. I am excited for, the James Gunn extended universe. Really, it's just Warner Brothers being like, listen, we fracked it up. Here you go, James Gunn, fix it. But, as long as Warner Brothers doesn't poke, I think we'll be fine, but we'll see. So that's kind of been what I'm watching lately. I haven't been watching a ton of like anime. I've been watching some animated shows, but I think a lot of the shows are on hiatus right now. Like Jujutsu Kaisen, I don't think it's coming back till 2026. Spy Family didn't come back this year, so I'm hoping Spy Family comes back next year. What else? I think Solo Leveling is coming back in the spring, and I think the 3rd season of Fire Force. I don't know. I watch Fire Force. I don't know about nobody else talks about Fire Force, but I love Fire Force. So yeah, a lot of my anime shows have been on hiatus. You know what? What's the name? My Hero Academia. I feel like they finished up season 7. I did watch that. Yeah, I watched season 7. It finished in the summertime, I think. But like, yeah, there weren't a lot of anime that I watched that came back for their seasons this fall. So I'm hoping there's a lot more this spring. This is 2025. Yeah, so that would be, I'm excited for those. But yeah, there weren't a ton that I watched. So yeah, that's kind of just what I've been watching lately. I'm excited for the docket of movies that we have. They're mostly superhero movies. So we got Captain America coming up first. I'm excited for that. Captain America and the Winter Soldier is one of my favorite Marvel Disney Plus shows, so I was really happy that they were giving him his own movie. I'm looking forward to that. We got Thunderbolts, we got Superman. What else do we have? We got Mission Impossible 8, no longer the moniker of Dead Reckoning Part 2, which is really what it is, but okay. I still want to see it though, because Tom Cruise, he be doing a good job with those Mission Impossible movies. And the funniest thing, it's kind of like Fast and the Furious in the sense where like, I like the first couple of Mission Impossibles, but they get progressively better as time goes on. To be fair, that stops with Fast and Furious after 7. That's my own personal opinion. You don't have to agree. Anyway, so we got Mission Impossible 8, and then we have Karate Kid Legends. I saw the trailer for that, and I was like, yes, I'm so proud of like how far the Karate Kid came. Who knew that Cobra Kai would spawn first of all, 6 seasons of Cobra Kai. It started off as a YouTube Red show, and then Netflix picked it up, and it went on to have 6 seasons, and we still haven't finished it. We're getting the last part because Netflix is greedy as fuck, and they split the they split the last season into 3 parts across a year and a half. Okay, Netflix. Anyway. And then we have Karate Kid Legends. So I'm so proud. We never knew we needed Cobra Kai, and we ended up getting 6 seasons of an absolutely amazing show that I am so excited to see the last part of. Plus, I'm super excited to see Cobra Kai Legends, Karate Kid Legends. So that's kind of everything I've been watching lately. Those are the things I'm excited for lately as well. So let me know if there's anything that you've been watching that I maybe should check out in the comments, or is there any movies or TV shows that you're excited for in 2025? All right, that's my time. Like, comment, subscribe. Okay, bye.